about this picture? I know on your page, clue 2 is like completely black. What does it look like up here? It's night. Yes. So we notice that it's nighttime. I want you to write that it's nighttime, maybe in your top left-hand corner over here. And then what kind of a breeze is this called? We're going to write that in the top right. Yeah, last one is sea breeze. This one is land breeze. So here we'll write land breeze. Now at night, things get a little different, right? At night, if you're on the beach, which if you've ever had that luxury, we know the sand gets kind of what? Well, at night, it cools off really quickly. So now the land, we need to label land. Above the land is going to be cold. And that means if I need to warm up, the water might actually be a little warmer. So we need to label our things again. And that picture is really awful. I do apologize. That copier hates life. Land, sea, and then we said above the land at night will be what kind of temperature? Cool. So we need to write cool on this side. And then the ocean compared to the land would actually be what? Warm. So on this side we need to write warm. Okay, so let's recap what we should have so far. We should have night. We should have land breeze. We should have labeled our land. We should have labeled our sea. We should know that the land at night is going to be cool and the sea will be warm. So where is it going to start to rise up? Where was it warm? Where should our arrow up be? By the sea, absolutely. So on this side above the sea, where's my mouse? There it is. We're going to have arrows going up. And then remember, as it's starting to cool off over the land, what's going to happen? It's going to go back down. It's going to sink because it's now more dense. And remember, that cold air is going to push that warm air up and out of the way. And it keeps this process going as those particles change. So remember, with wind, we call it from where it comes from or goes to. Which one was it, guys? Comes from. And notice on the land breeze, the arrow is coming from where? Right here. So that wind is coming from the land to the sea. Okay, that's why we call it a land breeze. Any questions on this one? Anyone need me to repeat anything for land breeze? All right, so then our last one for local winds. The last box here. This one's kind of a short definition. You can write it in your own words. It says winds that cover short distances caused by the uneven heating of the earth. So for these kind of winds, local winds, are they as big as global winds? No, they're short. Short distance, and we're going to say it's caused by that uneven heating. That's why we get that convection. So short distance caused by, you could say convection or uneven heating, whichever you prefer, whatever makes your brain happier. I love that moment too. All right, so check out and make sure we've got everything we need. For local winds, clue 1, make sure we have day, sea breeze. Make sure your arrows are going in the correct direction. And then for your local winds, clue 2, make sure we have night, land breeze. Make sure we have our cool and warm in the correct locations. Remember, they switched, and that means our cycle is now backwards. So for winds, for local winds, short distance, caused by uneven heating of earth and convection. Anyone have any questions before we move on? All right, we have a question, Seth? We good? You good? Okay. All right, now, if you are ready, go ahead and flip to the back, and you'll find our next task. And before we get to this one on the back side, we are going to watch a short video clip that'll recap everything we've talked about so far. And then we'll watch a clip that's going to kind of give us some hints as to what we're going to be looking at today. Nope. So today, remember, our job yesterday was to describe how does temperature affect an air mass. And then today we're going to add on how will that affect your weather. Does anyone need more time on this section only? Hands before I move on. All right. Let's check out our video clip. This one's going to review from yesterday. First, let's see if it'll work, because it did not want to work before. I know, for Scary got gypped. Okay. All right, make sure we're listening, please. Eyeballs on the board.
That was a lot of leaves. Yeah, let's go eat. Good idea. Oh, whoa!
That huge gust came out of nowhere.
How come wind is so powerful? You can't even see it.
Bad breath is invisible too, but it's pretty powerful.
Oh, gross.
Our breath and the wind are made up of the same thing. Air molecules invisibly floating in space. That's what gives wind its mass or substance.
And when it's windy, all those molecules are moving?
Like a herd. Sometimes they float gently in a breeze, and other times, like in a hurricane, they're blasted along at hundreds of miles an hour.
But what makes the wind strong or weak?
Everything from a breeze to a hurricane blast is caused by air pressure. That's the force with which air molecules push against us and everything around us. When the air pressure changes, so does the strength of the wind.
What makes air pressure change?
The height above sea level, the temperature, and the amount of water vapor in the air. Those three things make air more or less dense. When air gets colder and closer to sea level, it gets denser. That means the air molecules are closer together, so there's more air pressure.
So when air gets warmer and higher, there's less air pressure?
Right. The air molecules are farther apart, or less dense.
Hey, it's like the leaves we picked up. When they're together, they're heavy and hard to lift. But scattered around, they're lighter.
Yeah. So it makes sense that dense air sinks and less dense air rises. The pattern of rising and falling air is called a convection cell.
Convection cell?
Check it out. Say we're at the beach. In a convection cell, the air over the sea cools and sinks. That's a downdraft. At the same time, the air over the land gets warmer and rises. That's an updraft. The cool, high-pressure air moves towards the land and heats up, replacing the warm air. And the warm, low-pressure air moves out to sea and cools, replacing the cool air. The movements of the air cause wind. All this air movement is affected by one more thing.
Lay it on me.
The Earth's rotation. As the Earth spins, it pulls the wind and makes it travel on a slightly curved path, from west to east, or east to west. It's called the Coriolis effect. Anyways, there are all kinds of winds. They even have names.
Kind of.
Yeah,
That'll
like
be
a
more
breeze
air
and a gust and...
Well, no. Like polar easterlies, prevailing westerlies, and trade winds.
Huh?
Polar easterlies are winds that come in from the poles and blow east to west. Prevailing westerlies are warmer winds blowing in the middle latitudes. And trade winds are near the equator.
So that gust of wind that blew through and ruined our hard work, was that a prevailing westerly since we live in the middle latitudes?
It probably was.
You know, this wind thing is pretty fierce. I never realized wind was caused by changes in air pressure, or that air pressure is affected by three things: temperature, height above sea level, and amount of water vapor in the air. And the convection cell stuff? Hot air rising, cool air sinking? It's wild. But it's not as wild as the Coriolis effect. That's the spinning of the Earth that makes winds curve. Wind is invisible, but so powerful.
Wow, Sam, I'm blown away.
Well, it was quite a whirlwind of information.
Haha. Okay, so now that was kind of our review from yesterday. Now we're going to take that information and add a little bit more to it. Okay, so now we're going to look at how do those temperatures and pressures affect our air masses, and how will that affect our weather? So this one picks up kind of where that one
Can't
left off.
believe there was a snowstorm. It just came out of nowhere.
The snow didn't just come from nowhere. A cold front moved in.
What?
A cold front? A front is the boundary where two air masses clash, and weather, like snow, occurs. There are warm and cold fronts. I'll demonstrate.
No, don't. Just tell me.
I'm not going to throw it at you. Listen, you know what an air mass is, right?
A big, massive blob of air?
Kinda. An air mass is a large body of air that has the same temperature and moisture level throughout. There are 4 different types of air masses in the United States, and each one carries its own temperature and amount of moisture.
So what are their names?
Well, 2 are cold and 2 are warm. The 2 cold air masses are the maritime polar air mass and the continental polar air mass.
What about the 2 warm air masses?
The 2 warm air masses are called the maritime tropical air mass and the continental tropical air mass.
So which ones can I thank for the snow day?
It snowed because one of the cold air masses clashed with a warm one and made a cold front. When that snowball hit you, it exploded, right?
Yeah, and it hurt.
Well, Sam, I think it's instant replay time. Let's say the snowball was a cold air mass, and you were a warm air mass. When you both clashed together, a front was made, and the ball burst. It snowed.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, this snowstorm is a result of a cold front. Cold fronts happen when a cold air mass pushes a warm air mass up. Big puffy clouds, called cumulus clouds, are formed. When you see dark clouds like those, you can bet you're in for some heavy rain, thunderstorms, or a snowstorm like this.
What happens at a warm front?
A warm front happens when a warm air mass catches up with a cold air mass and slowly climbs up and over it. As the warm air mass passes over the cold air, long, thin stratus clouds stretch out across the sky. A warm front can cause rain and snow too, but it's light and steady, not heavy and stormy like a cold front's weather.
So, a cold front means pretty crazy weather that gets me a snow day. And a warm front just means it might still rain or snow, but it won't be as intense. An air mass is a large body of air that has the same temperature and moisture throughout, and there are 4 types of air masses in the U.S. Each one has unique characteristics that hint at where it formed. When 2 of these air masses meet, they form a boundary called a front. It can be a warm front or a cold front, but either way, some kind of weather always happens on a front.
Hey! Okay, I deserved it. It's freezing, though. I think I'm gonna head in for some hot chocolate.
All right, watch your eyeballs, Les. You're coming up. All right, so now on the back of page 3, where we just were, we're going to flip to page 4, please. It should look something like this, but yours is not going to be quite that written on yet. So find that page, please, if you aren't already there. And now we're going to check out in order what we just heard. And I know that was a lot of information really fast, so we're going to break it down now and see what we can figure out about all these words we just learned. And it's just building on what we've already done, but it is going to be a little bit overwhelming probably. And we'll kind of break it down a little bit more tomorrow. We'll get some practice in to make sure that we're all on the same page. All right, so we're on the back of page what now? 4, very good. All right, so here we're looking at the word air mass, if you'll find that, please. What did we hear about an air mass? Good. Same temperature and that consistency throughout. So this is going to be all the same temperature and density is the key thing with that. Let's see if it has a pop-up. Nope, it doesn't. All right, so for this one, air mass is a large body of air with the same, sorry guys, temperature, and do we know the word humidity? Okay, so that's like moisture or humidity. You know humidity. When you've done your hair all morning long and it's fabulous and you walk outside and it's a fuzzball, that's because of humidity. So humidity or moisture would be the same. Let's add that there next to moisture, please. That way we can match those 2 words up. So an air mass, one more time, a large body of air with the same temperature or humidity. Okay? Now there are 4 main types of air masses. Air masses. Here are 4 types. And these words will combine to make different kinds of air masses like we just saw in the video. Okay? So we have a maritime, continental, polar, and tropical. Some of these words might sound familiar and we might have some ideas, and some of them we might be a little lost. So the first word, maritime. The root is marry. Circle that, please. What does that remind you of? Does it remind you of anything? Yes, very nice. Marine. So marine, what does marine mean though?
Those people.
What do those people do?
They go in the water.
They're water, yes. They like to be on the sea or the ocean. So the source region means where is it coming from? Where from? Well, it's from the sea. You guys just told me. Okay, now let's think. If the air mass is from the marine or sea area, what would the moisture or humidity be like? Would it be moist or dry? Okay, excellent. So for moisture characteristic, we're going to say it's very moist.